I like to make sure that I understand the service that I'm doing first, because a lot of time can be saved. And of course, we are a business, so you think of time first, but at the same time, you think of the service. So for me, we're gonna take this bad boy down, because anybody that does dyes and coloring services, they know you put a dye on a lineup and you'll pretty much be doing a whole nother edge up again. So I'm gonna start off with a nice little tapered frame and get my dog going.
And I play a lot of instruments, primarily anything brass. You touch it, I can play it. And so my dad was a drummer too, and he played guitar. And so I like Earth, Wind and Fire and Confunction, old school groups like that actually really play their instruments and sing. Because that's what I like about Justin Timberlake. You know, a lot of people, I don't know how many people do or don't know, but the guy can play. He can play just about anything in the band, but primarily he's fluent with guitar, piano, percussion, bass, or lead, you know, any kind of acoustical anything. And I just dig him. He play everything but a horn. I don't know if he can actually play one of those.
People like that, in which I'm one of those people, it's a gift. And it's almost like a gift and a curse, because we become so expected on our gifts to show up at the times. You know what I'm saying? It's like we almost grow up fast. I know I grew up fast because I was allowed to.
You know,
Right,
some of us are.
right.
Primarily raised by grandparents sometimes.
Man, so growing up, a lot of the things that I lacked were like discipline, and like a lot of the things that have you progressing towards just the next step.
You know, good Southern home cooking that primarily, you know, is from and I see this and I learned this too. I learned this recently, really was blowing my mind, because I also have a culinary background.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that a lot of like South Carolina and North Carolina, a lot of the old black people, man, they can cook.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of their teachings come from, you know, from the Caribbean, because North Carolina, South Carolina were a big port, and so a lot of people from the Caribbean would come back and forth there, or some would come there and they would settle there. So they brought those Caribbean influences, and then some of them, you know, Southern people migrated there too. So then they all that meshed together. But a lot of that stuff that we do, man, even in Louisiana and all that, a lot of stuff comes from Carolina, bro. Real talk.
No, that makes sense though.
And very Afrocentric. And then back to the thing about role models, you know, you have to do what I did. You say, because you didn't have a good father, you got to create a father figure within yourself.
Heard that.
And that's what I did. So, like, my kids are square, and I love it, man. You know, they don't know nothing about that life.
It was closed yesterday, so.
You got some more people coming?
Yeah, today, yeah. So we're gonna go like 2 more minutes. I'm gonna let this kind of sink in and make sure we get all them baby hairs and everything. But you don't want to sit it so long to the point where it starts to attach to their scalp. And it makes it a little bit harder to fade, makes it a little bit harder to kind of compare and contrast to pretty much the goal and what you're trying to achieve in the final look. So me and my guy KC here done been through this enough times to where I got it kind of method to my madness, in a sense, I guess you could say. Yeah, I be trying to be fancy with my little 2-seater. Pretty much the drying chair. Don't have so much water drip.
Next time?
I started at 5:26.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can let it sit for like maybe a minute or two.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just giving the pre-taper guideline. Pretty much, not only am I lining the size up, but I'm kind of giving myself my guideline. And as I'm tapering him, this is going to let me know a lot of my angles and my cutoff. Even though sometimes us barbers get lazy and try to do it real quick, but those that know, it's usually the most precise and gives the best clean fade. You prep it right with stuff like Vaseline, and of course, like I say, getting your timing right. So there's stuff like that that come easily off. Had we left it on 5 more minutes, all of this would have been like a 5 o'clock shadow. I like to start off balding, starting off from my guideline. And that kind of also lets me know what the angles I'm working with. And then I go into fading from the top, because not only does it blend right into the hair, but as a professional, you avoid a lot of mistakes, like by cutting higher or fading up downward. Because fading downward, let's just say for some reason, him and I have some miscommunications about the type of fade he wants. At any point in time when I'm fading up, I still got a lot of hair that I can play with and correct, opposed to starting from below to where I'm already balding and already blending up this high. And at that point, we ain't really got much room to work with if for some reason there's a miscommunication. So really starting from the top, in which with this guard is going to be a 1.5, starting with that 1.5, it's really just professional practice to kind of cover myself as I'm fading and getting to certain points of the fade and making sure you protect yourself. And I think that's pretty much the biggest key about being a professional. Safety and just protecting yourself and preventing certain mistakes, or knowing how to recover from certain mistakes to still give that professional finish that is. We ain't gonna get no mistakes today, my dog. And then from that 1.5 guard, we're going into a 1, which is right under that 1.5, in which I do a little bit of playing with the 1, but I like to save my 1 just for most of my detailing. I feel like it's a perfect blend of being close enough to detail at any point of the fade, as far as gradients are concerned, but also just keeping that dark finish that most of your clients may want. So the 1 guard is what I like to detail with. So like I say, I don't like to put too much on my 1 guard in the beginning anyway.
People that are not equally fair are not people to deal with. And if you already know that it's gonna end.
See, a lot of that. It's kind of like just some of that stuff I was saying from the dye, stuff like that. But it's okay.
It's gonna change. And hey, don't be a victim.